Super Speedway Championships, proudly presented by Bob Jane T-Marts. You're in safe hands and Goodyear first choice.
Everyone, I'm Gerald McDornan and it's great to have your company here at the Goodyear Thunderdome at Melbourne's Calder Park Raceway for the continuation of the 1998-99 Australian Super Speedway Series. Now, on today's show, we've got something a little bit different for you because we're going to combine the AUSCAR category and the Sportsman category for the first time in history. They're going to hit it out on a 20-lap race that should be super exciting. We're also going to bring you the HQ Holdens. They're the crowd favourites here at the Goodyear Thunderdome. And joining me to call the action is Phil Brannigan. And Phil, it doesn't matter what the category we race here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, it's always exciting racing.
And it's always close. NASCAR racing and Thunderdome racing, not really like road racing where the idea is to stop the car, turn the car, and then get out of the corner. Everybody wants to keep their corner speed as high as possible, and that's why the racing's so close.
Well, it should be a great show. So sit down, enjoy the action. We're going to bring it right to you now. Lights are out on the pace car here at the Goodyear Thunderdome and the Repco Holden HQ Series. Round number 2 is about to get underway here at the 1.83 kilometre Goodyear Thunderdome, and it's an interesting grid because we are starting off the series points positions due to rain falling during this morning's qualifying sessions. So that gives us Mark Wicks and Glenn McDonald off the front row of the grid in the number 15 and 13 cars respectively. John Harding and Scott Walker make up the second row of the grid, while Richard Ireland and Gavin Bond are off row number 3. Jim Simmons, Andrew Coulin are off row 4, and John Spencer and Reese Arundale off row number 5. 20 fast and furious laps for the HQs around the Goodyear Thunderdome. And Phil Brannigan, we are about to get racing underway. Green flag is waving.
And will they be able to go 20 fast and furious laps without any yellow flags, without any pace cars, or without any major incidents? A good clean start so far. Wicks holds the point. I don't know if the qualifying or the lack of qualifying is going to make a lot of difference here, Gerald, because the fast cars are at the front end of the grid, and that is where they're supposed to be. Look at Wicks out there in front already.
Well, 4 and 5 cars abreast up the back straight. There is Glenn McDonald out in front in the... Oh, we've got major dramas on the racetrack. Cars have gone everywhere. The 23 involved in that. Neville Haley, his car, the boot is up. The 40's also there. Percy Richardson. Percy, bad luck, son, you're out of it. And also Dallas Crane, one of the veterans of HQ Racing. And the yellow is out. There is caution on the racetrack already. And Phil, that big 12, size 12 Oakley shoe went in your mouth.
It went in there in a real hurry. The answer to the question at home is how far can an HQ race go before they get the yellow flags? The answer is about 500 metres, because that's all they went. Through turn number 1 and number 2, there was a big kerfuffle there on the exit. A number of HQ drivers caught up in that, including Neville Haley, who has won every single title there is to win an HQ racing, except here at the Goodyear Thunderdome.
Let's have a look at one of the replays here, and up the back, car starting to get loose. You look at Haley there. He's copped a little one in the tail, probably moved up a bit too much. The 69er had nowhere to go, Larry Merrifield, and he tapped him in the rear. He went into the wall, that was Haley, and then came down, and cars, of course, went every which way but loose, and they were spinning out. Have a look back in the field a little bit. You start to see, there it goes, the 23 car. Haley came right up, bang into Merrifield, and Dallas Crane and the whole lot had nowhere else to go.
Interesting, Haley's boot coming up there, like one of those safety flaps you see in NASCAR racing in the US. Not the same thing, folks. Those flaps on NASCARs are designed to fly up when the car is going backwards, keep the car on the ground. Of course, in this case, it was just poor Neville Haley's boot flying into the air. There's the fairly disappointed crew. They got the fabulous Basher-Matic out to try and do some work. That's the 12-pound sling sledge, and they're saying, yeah, look, it doesn't look that bad. We've put a lot of race tape on the boot. Get back into it. And he's out there again. Can you believe it?
Well, Neville Haley, one of the three, driving one of the three cars entered by David Amor Racing. And there is the 69 car. As we said, that is Larry Merrifield. His crew using that very scientific device, the shorter handled version, and just trying to make room for the Goodyear rubber to stick inside the guard there. And obviously, skill in panel beating work is not required.
Well, there is a fair bit of skill involved there.
Oh, he's got the baseball bat out.
That's where we go.
Mark Maguire would never be able to use a baseball bat like that. That is home run 69.
Well, Mark Maguire hit 70 home runs this season, so
well,
they're one short at the moment.
We'll see if John Harding can come into the 70 and he can hit that one as well.
Mark Maguire, actually, for those of you who are saying, who the hell are we talking about? We're talking about a baseball player from the USA. The lights are out on the Ford Falcon XR pace car, by the way, and the HQ Racing will soon get back underway. They're on lap.
They're basically on lap 1.
And a stop-go penalty being shown to one of our drivers down there in pit lane.
Okay, racing about to get underway yet again here for the HQ Holden's. Pace car pulls off the circuit, and a slightly reduced field are about to attack this 20-lap race in the Goodyear Thunderdome. And Glenn McDonald down in front in the Reddy Rose car. He's ready to cook here on the Goodyear Thunderdome. And of course, Mark Wicks on the outside in that number 15. Both guys entered this race with taking a win and a second spot at the last meeting here at the Goodyear Thunderdome.
Look at the pack move up the back straight. Everyone's through cleanly. Did I speak too soon? No, I didn't speak too soon. Thank good. Wicks is on the outside in the white car, trying to take the line into turn number 3, trying to move around the outside of McDonald, but there's just no way through.
Oh, you spoke it too soon. That 35's gone around Ian Hibbert. Oh, Phil, you just let it out of the bag a little bit too soon. We're waiting for the caution. So far, it hasn't come on the racetrack.
Let's go back for the battle for the lead, because still it looks like there is a car going into pit lane at the moment, but our race leaders are still hard at it. They are going hammer and tongs as the crocodile of HQ cars moves side to side, forward, backwards, everywhere they're going. Wick still pressing there in second place in the white car. Here's the replay. We're just looking to see what happened when they got to turn number 3, and there was a bit of a tap there for the blue car. He went down there over the white line, and it wasn't that bad. He got sideways, looked a lot worse than it was, but I think he pretty well escaped most of the mayhem.
Well, I tell you what, cars starting to go everywhere there, but luckily Hibbert missed it all, and the racing continues without a caution here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, as we have Glenn McDonald just out in front of Mark Wicks. The 13 and 15 HQ Holdens. You watch Wicks now, just taps McDonald, lets him know he's there. It also happens because the car behind, because it is in clean air, it starts to run faster than that car in front, and you've got to judge it. One of the cars getting very loose there that time around and starting to back off the pace a little bit, and that was the 27 car of David Lambrick. But out in front, McDonald still working away. Also in there is Scott and Stevie Walker. Scott Walker in that number 11 car up high there. Steve Walker currently in 5th spot. And we also have the orange HQ in there. Wicks tapping McDonald all the way down the back straight.
And Scotty Walker actually looks pretty comfortable. He's out there on the high line, but he's not getting hung out there to dry. He's got plenty of car speed in the Auto Pro car number 11, and he looks like he can really run that high line. Now we're seeing the advantage of that. He comes out of turn number 4 really quickly and goes around the outside there of Wicks, and he could be looking for second place as they come out of these turns.
Top 4 here at the Goodyear Thunderdome in the Repco HQ Holdens. We've got Glenn McDonald leading the field, Mark Wicks, Scott Walker, and John Harding.
Looks exciting, doesn't it? Well, how would you like to buckle up and go for a spin with the man himself, Marshall Brewer? Thanks to Fast Track Racing, not 1 but 5 people will have the chance to win this ride of a lifetime. You'll don a helmet and race suit for 6 explosive laps around the Goodyear Thunderdome. And it will all be captured on film, so you won't have to tell your friends, you can show them. All you have to do is get to the phone and dial 1902 554 664. And for just 50 cents, you might be one of 5 lucky guests who'll experience firsthand the thrills of NASCAR racing. Lines are open 24 hours a day, so call 1902 554 664 and enter as many times as you like.
There's one car coming into pit lane. That's one of the auto track cars. I think that might be the Haley machine that was involved in that first lap incident. The crew just taking the advantage of doing a bit more pit work. How would you like to eat dinner with some of these guys? I think they'd be fairly forceful when it came to getting their 2 chops and veg.
Most definitely. The work continues on Neville Haley's car here at the Thunderdome, while Mark Wicks is out in front, well, in second spot, I should say, right on the tail of Glenn McDonald and Scotty Walker in the number 11 Autobahn Bendigo. HQ Holden currently sitting in third spot, right on the tail of Wicks. And we've got also John Harding there in the number 70 Rose and Crown Hotel HQ Holden from South Australia. And a former champion, or 2-time champion here at the Goodyear Thunderdome in the Repco HQ category.
And some of the cars who have been involved in earlier incidents have come back onto the racetrack, and the leaders have had to deal with lap traffic after only 6 laps of 20. There's another car in the pit lane getting some attention there. Can't quite pick up the number. That's Hepburn, one of the front-running cars in this series. So he's obviously had some sort of problem there in his particular HQ Holden. Back to the battle for the lead, and they are going very, very quickly indeed. McDonald has led this race since the get-go, but look at Harding, the orange number 70 Rose and Crown Hotel car from Adelaide. As Gerald said, a double winner here at the Goodyear Thunderdome Series. A guy who knows more about racing at HQ around the Goodyear Thunderdome than anybody else.
Most definitely, and Harding sitting in a fairly frightening position for the other guys. He's in fourth spot and on a charge. He's in a nice spot as well. Got a bit of a draft going there with both Wicks and Scott Walker out in front of him. Wicks is going the inside line. He's right on the tail of McDonald, our race leader. And now they are actually bumper to bumper all the way around the Thunderdome. They all tapped each other that time. And Harding looking for the nice draft up the front straight, or the dog leg here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, to try and keep position and put himself in a better position when we come to the race end. He'll want to take advantage of that, pull out and pass the 2 guys ahead of him.
So the front 5 have well and truly broken away. McDonald seems to have all the answers at the moment. Wicks is able to close that gap, but he's just not able to close that gap.
Well, I tell you, Walker and Harding have had a touch there. Door handle to door handle. Thankfully, they're assessed on the HQ Holden's, Phil.
That was very considerate of Holden to do that back in 1970 and 71 when they're designing this car. Oh, Walker gets a bit of a tap there. Gets a good look at the outside wall, and he loses a position. He's back now there in 5th place, and that's the first time we've seen him back there in line. So the order at the moment, they're on lap 9 of 20. McDonald still leading just from Wicks. Then it's Spencer who's moved up to 3rd place in the 24 machine ahead of 70 Harding, and then Scotty Walker in car number 11.
Well, John Spencer is actually a test driver for Holden. That's his job during the day, and he's now up 3rd spot. Wicks looking the inside line, then goes high into turn number 3. Oh, we've got the 97 cars gone. Tracy Molden on the brakes hard, gone down the infield, and luckily there is no more damage. Race control has not brought out a yellow, so we continue on here with the Repco HQ Holdens at the Goodyear Thunderdome, round number 2 for the HQs, and it is, let's go to the replay first. Molden got out of all sorts, just slightly out of tap there.
It looks like it was a bit of a tank slapper there. It may have been a little assist involved there as well. As the 97 car, it does exactly the right thing. Molden gets the car down under the white line, wrestles it to a stop, and says, well, maybe we'll think about this for a while before we get back into the action. And this is the biggest lead we've seen. It's out to about 4 car lengths now.
Mark Wicks's 15 car there on screen actually looks a little bit loose as it goes into the turns. It appears as though, or I should say the actual opposite of loose, it looks as though it's pushing. It wants to push up high in the turns, although this time he keeps it right down low and it looks nice. He's probably got a better draft. They're coming past the 35 car there of Ian Hibbert. And Hibbert, of course, has kept on going in the Geelong Tune Repco Parts HQ after that earlier spin.
And aren't these cars even? Of course, they're all 6-cylinder red engines. And if you don't know what a red engine is, it means it was a generation of engine that really went a long time with Holden. There was a yellow flag on the speedway. John Mostini, our official starter, shows the yellow flag to the participants out there on the grid. I think that's because of the 97 car, which is tucked down there. We are on lap 13 of 20. And the order at the moment is McDonald leads from Wicks, Walker, Spencer, and running at the top 5 is Scott Walker.
Repco here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, and we're about to get racing underway yet again in the Repco HQ Holden category, with Glenn McDonald currently leading the field in the 13 HQ Holden ahead of Mark Wicks, John Spencer and Scott Walker, with Scotty Walker's brother Stephen in the number 10 car right on his tail, currently in 5th spot. So Bill Brannigan, right up to date, it has been an eventful race, but also a very competitive one with a lot of positions swapping, although Glenn McDonald has held the advantage from the get-go.
He just seems to have everybody covered. He's on the line, as is his choice, and saying to everyone behind him, hey, you've got to make your own arrangements, guys. Try and get past me. Wicks is right there behind him in the white car. Can he do it? He's got 3 laps.
Well, green flags waving here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, and it is Glenn McDonald ahead of Mark Wicks, as we said, and John Spencer currently in 3rd spot, the test driver for Holden, and it is 3 laps to the checkered flag here, and it should be a very eventful 3 laps. We're going to see bumper bars crashing, door handles bashing. It's all going to be on.
Scotty Walker once again taking that high line, and Spencer trying to push a way through. Look at Wicks right there in the rear bumper of McDonald, pushing him along, but he just doesn't seem to have the horsepower, as Scotty might say. I just don't have the power.
Well, interesting to see the Walkers both up high with Scott and Steve Walker. The 11 and 10 cars there trying to draft away past the leading cars, but it is still Glenn McDonald out in front. See the Walkers staying right up high in turn number 1. They're trying to go around the outside. I don't think they can do it. It's going to be the tough way. It's the long way past.
And Wicks almost gets his nose cut off as the 13 car took the line. McDonald said, no way there. I know you've got a better line out of that corner, but I'm still not going to let you have the back straight. The front 5 absolutely locked together as they come across the line to complete lap number 9.
Oh, we got dramas on the racetrack. We've got cars going everywhere. One of them going up to the wall there, the 34. That's Neville Bond, and cars going every which way to miss him.
And he gets it down under the line. The white flag has been shown to our race leaders. There they are. And look at Walker going around the outside of McDonald. Now it's a horsepower drag race. Who is going to have the grunt to get through turn number 3 and 4 and get the checkered flag?
Well, Walker's out in front, but here comes McDonald. He's in front. This time they turn into turn 3. It's Walker and McDonald. Door handle, the door handle. Walker's going around the outside. McDonald's gone down. Wicks is trying to get past. He's copper belting, and Scotty Walker's going to bring Stephen Walker across the line in 2nd. What a great race. Scott Walker and Steve. Oh, there's drama after the finish as well, and cars have gone into the wall. But what a fantastic race here for the Repco HQ Holdens, and we've got smoking cars for a smoking good race.
You wonder why people like HQ Racing, Gerald. That is why people like HQ Racing. The cars of the 3rd and 4th going into the last lap finish 1st and 2nd. And we've got a car actually broken down in the middle of the racetrack, it looks like. Car number 70, Harding, has had all sorts of problems there in the Salisbury Dismantlers Rosen Crown entry, and he is ground to a halt after the race is finished. But Walker 1st and Walker 2nd.
Well, let's have a look at the earlier incident here on the replay, and one of the cars just got a little bit tail-endy in turn number 3, sent another one high up into the wall, and the drama followed from there. And that was the 34 car of Neville Bond, and he started coming back down. Thankfully, cars were braking. Holden went up high, almost collected the wall again, but it was okay, and Bond snuck down. No, I should say that's Lee Casey in the 84 car, not the 34, but a very good race indeed. Scotty Walker wins the first HQ race here at the Goodyear Thunderdome ahead of his brother Steve Walker. Next was McDonald, Spencer, Wicks, Bond, Wright, Fairbairn, Arundale, and of course John Harding rounded out the top 10.
Matthew White's Super Speedway career began in 1992, when at just 18 he entered the Sportsman class. After just a couple of years, he made the progression to AUSCARs, and in the last 3 seasons has never finished outside the top 4. The highlight coming in the 1996-97 season when he took out the championship. This season, the now 24-year-old mechanical engineer is back after a somewhat frustrating season last year.
Last year we threw everything at it and struggled for results. We were quick all the time, but just didn't come home with the results during the race, which is, you've got to have luck on your side, you've got to be a good driver, you've got to have a great car behind you, and you've also got to have a certain degree of luck of being able to get the car right on the night, and then just luck in traffic and general racing. And you know, we just got everything right last meeting.
The opening round of the new season saw White's VS Commodore take the checkered flag after 80 thrilling laps around the Goodyear Thunderdome. The perfect start in his quest for a second series championship.
Out of turn number 4 for the last time. Under the main straight, and here he is, our winner. The young champion himself, Matthew White, takes the win ahead of Lee Watkins.
Key to winning a championship out here is consistency. You've just got to be in the top 5 every race, and if you do that, you don't have to win every race, but if you're in the top 5 every race, you're pretty much guaranteed to be there at the end.
Getting to the end is not as easy as it looks. Negotiating the 1.83 kilometre circuit is difficult, especially when you consider the 4 turns are banked at 24 degrees.
You're always trying to straighten out all the corners as you can, so you start off right out the wall, which is as wide as you can be, and then bring the car right down to the bottom of the banking without going onto the flat, because as soon as you hit the flat, you almost spin yourself around. So you want to touch right down just to where the track hits the flat, and then right out to the wall as you're coming back out the corner.
Third.
You'll also quickly notice at any super speedway event, the cars are often bumper to bumper. This is a very important aspect of racing called drafting.
Look at White, that car looks like it's using slightly less road, especially through turns number 1 and 2, and Watkins seems to have that grunt on the straights.
Well, here's an interesting one. We spoke with Matty White during the day, and we said, hey, would you like to be in second or first coming on the last lap, heading towards the checkered flag? And he said, oh, well, you know, it depends on how your car, of course, is handling. If you're in second, if you're in the right spot, that's okay. He said, because you can get up right under the tail of the car in front of you, take away the air from or the effect of the air on the rear spoiler of that leading car, and make them loose in a corner. He said, and then that will allow you to duck under the inside or go around the outside of them and drive on by. Is this what's going to unfold here today at the Goodyear Thunderdome?
White is quick to point out it's not just the man behind the wheel that can steer a team to success.
The biggest key to it is dedication of the crew. You've got to have the crew behind you so that you can have the car prepared correctly for when you get out here on the race day. Otherwise, I think you're really wasting your time. We try and get the car spot on so you don't have to worry about anything when you get to the track. And then it's just sort of fine-tuning it for the changes in weather, because that can make a very drastic effect on your handling.
Matthew and his team will have to be at their best if they're going to clinch this year's AUSCAR title. There's fierce competition in the form of Lee Watkins and defending champion Darren McDonald. Both are likely to finish the season on the podium.
Before the season, I would have said Darren, but he handicapped himself a little bit for the first round, which is going to make it tough for him. It's probably going to require one of the front-running teams to make a mistake during the season for him to get back up there, and which certainly it generally does happen. One of the teams usually have either one crash, one engine, one something or other, which puts them out. Darren's certainly going to be up there in every race from now on, but 13 positions, that's a lot of points to try and claw back unless someone makes a mistake.
McDonald here has been racing for a number of years, has won championships in both the Sportsman and AUSCAR category, and in fact he now goes past Umbrell and pushes him back to position number 7.
Lee Watkins, he's going to be very tough to beat. His car's extremely quick and it's very hard to pass in traffic. They've got an awful lot of horsepower, the Fords, and we've been on a continual quest to try and increase our power and still keep coming up about 40 horsepower short. I've just put in another new engine for this race, which is a little bit better than what we had last race, but it's still no match against the Ford. So the Holdens generally have to make sure their cars are perfect round their corners, and then we just sort of sit there and draft the Fords down the straights, because as soon as you pull out of the draft, you just slip back, and you've got to wait for them to make a mistake, and that's your chance of getting past a Ford.
Matthew White now on the tail in the 28 freighter Maxi Cube Commodore. So we're about to have a challenge for the lead, and we have got 34 laps down and just 16 remaining. This is going to be a race to the checkered flag.
Whatever eventuates this season, White has his eyes focused on another form of racing next year. The progression to the American-built NASCARs is just around the next bend.
It's a class with the step up in profile than AUSCAR. They're a great car to drive. I haven't driven a race car around the Thunderdome here as yet, but certainly round Bathurst are terrific, and I loved it. And so we've just put the toe in the water this season, and next season I think we plan to make a full transition.
And don't forget our sensational competition. Thanks to Fast Track Racing, your chance to take 6 sensational laps around the Goodyear Thunderdome with NASCAR hotshot Marshall Brewer. 5 lucky callers have the chance to win this ride of a lifetime, and we'll put it on video for you. Sample the thrills of NASCAR racing. For your crack at 6 explosive laps around the Thunderdome, ring us on 1902 554 664. And for just 50 cents, you're on standby to don the helmet and race suit and climb in the race car with Marshall Brewer. Lines are open 24 hours a day. You can enter as many times as you like from anywhere in Australia. 1902 554 664. Get to your phone now. 1902 554 664.
Racing continues here at the Goodyear Thunderdome. Something a little bit different as we have the combination of the AUSCAR and the Sportsman category. Phil Brannigan, we saw the first AUSCAR race earlier, and now what we have done has we have gridded up all of the AUSCARs on their finishing order of the first race here at the Goodyear Thunderdome today, and then the Sportsmans follow suit from that.
Well, that should be interesting because it means there's going to be a bit more traffic for the race leaders in the AUSCAR category. And don't forget, a lot of those drivers have come from Sportsman ranks. So they'll kind of be racing against some of the guys they were racing against a couple of seasons ago.
Lee Watkins and Matty White leading off the front row. Then we've got Darren McDonald and also Nathan Pretty off row number 2 as the pace car heads in. And we get racing underway in this AUSCAR and Sportsman category combined. The green flag's waving, and it's Lee Watkins that leads off from the start with Matty White alongside him. McDonald on the inside and Nathan Pretty round the outside. There's all the Sportsman cars in the background too, around about 35-40 cars on the racetrack at the moment. And Terry Wyhoon, former AUSCAR champion and NASCAR race winner. Something a little bit different, but this the field looks like the halcyon days of AUSCAR racing when we had 35-40 cars out on the track every meeting.
Yeah, you're dead right, Gerald. I think it's going to be quite exciting. I think some of the Sportsmen will get up and mix it with the slower AUSCARs. So towards the end of this, I think it'll be quite good.
Well, practice showed yesterday that some of the Sportsmen were mixing it up within the AUSCAR field. Unfortunately, we had rain this morning and it stopped all qualifying, so we had to use previous race results, and that's how the cars were gridded up.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think you'll find, like I say, the Sportsmen have certainly got the corner speed. They're on the same tyre as the AUSCAR. The AUSCAR's certainly got a little bit more power, but the Sportsman cars look after the tyres much easier, so it'd be quite good here in a few laps.
Tony Melly just going down the inside of Nathan Pretty there. Matty White has dropped back with the 28 Maxi Cube Freighter Commodore. And Tony Melly, what a great revelation he's been in AUSCAR, has been a very successful sportsman and HQ racer.
Yeah, well, Tony's driving the ex-Steve Harrington car. Actually, I drove this car here last year, and it's a nice car, and he's doing a great job in it. Even Matty having a bit of a tussle there now on the front straight.
So the race order at the moment is Watkins leading once again in the Ford Falcon. McDonald's moved up to second place in the Power Mac entry ahead of Nathan Pretty. Then Tony Malley holding out fourth place. Matthew White's fallen all the way back to fifth in car number 28. And Nigel Benson, the 04 machine, rounds out the top 6.
Fabulous to see Nigel Benson back here. Paul Dumbrell, a kid making his debut here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, just behind Tony Malley there in the number 7 Wins Commodore. There he's on screen alongside Nigel Benson. But Dumbrell has been a revelation today, and first race here at the Goodyear Thunderdome.
Yes, he's been very young.
We've got drama on the racetrack coming out of turn number 4. A couple of the sportsmen have come together as we see Lee Watkins and Darren McDonald racing away there. They're about to come into a caution part of the racetrack. Turn number 4, and we have not gone yellow.
And the two guys who got caught up were the two guys who were actually fighting for the lead in the sportsman category, and that was Gilliland and Gillespie. They got caught up there halfway between turn number 3 and turn number 4, and they only just got up to speed before the race leaders came through in the AUSCAR category. So it was a bit of a close moment for Watkins and McDonald in 47 and 44. The closing speed on the two cars was in front was probably about 100 kilometres an hour. Everyone got through safely, but Watkins must have been thinking to himself, holy cow, I don't need this.
Well, the race continues here at the Goodyear Thunderdome in the AUSCAR Sportsman category. 20 laps on this race. We're 6 laps down currently with Lee Watkins, Darren McDonald leading, Nathan Pretty, Matty White are in 4th and 5th, and Tony Malley currently in 6th spot with Nigel Benson. Now, Benson has come back to racing at the Goodyear Thunderdome, and Terry, you'll remember a couple of years ago with Nigel Benson actually winning an AUSCAR race over at Adelaide International Raceway in front of his home crowd. Boy, did they go wild that night. Yeah,
they certainly did, Gerald. Yeah, he had Adelaide down to a T. He did a little bit of practice over there that year, and he showed us all a clean pair of heels. But it's good to see him back here. He's a good competitor, and with given enough laps around here, I'm sure he'd be up with the front runners.
Lee Watkins currently leading at the moment. Terry, a lot of guys have said that the Fords appear to have a whole lot more horsepower than the Commodores. So what you must do with the Commodores is keep the speed up through the turns. Is that the way it was when you were racing in the AUSCAR category?
Yeah, pretty much, Gerald. The Fords, generally speaking, have about 20 more horsepower and a little more torque than the Commodore. However, it's not only a power circuit here. The Commodores work real well on the bank. They've got a different setup in the front suspension. They have a Renner McPherson strut as opposed to a double A arm, and Falcons are a little bit harder on the tyres.
Well, we're starting to come across some lap traffic now, and Lee Watkins is trying to go around them, and Darren McDonald's right on his tail, as is Nathan Pretty in the DeWalt Tools Goodyear Commodore. So this is going to bring on a great race. The AUSCAR's just freight train past those sportsman cars. Matty White's also joined them in the 28 Freighter Maxi Cube Commodore. And, oh, gee, cars appear to go a little bit loose then.
Yeah, Watkins was very aggressive in traffic. He wasn't going to take any prisoners because he knew right behind him was McDonald, and he couldn't afford to leave half a gap, or otherwise the double 4 car would have been through. The race leader at the moment, Watkins, leads from McDonald. Nathan Pretty's in 3rd place in car number 2 ahead of Matthew White in 28, and then it's Tony Malley in 5th place.
Continuing here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, and Lee Watkins still out in front of Darren McDonald and Nathan Pretty. You see them on screen, the 47, 44 and number 2 cars. They're going around the outside of some of these sportsman cars. The 77 car there is another one of the Ford Falcons in that sportsman category. The Verica brothers car with Mark Verica has just been passed as well. But Lee Watkins has got a little bit of a break on the field now, 1 or 2 car lengths, although the Commodores are running almost nose to tail, and that gap should be pulled back pretty quickly.
Yes, it should. Also, a good battle going on at the pointy end of the sportsman, because Gillespie is up the front of that class, and right behind him is Chris Robinson, and those two guys have been running very hard ever since the start of this 20-lap race. We're on lap 12, so only 8 laps to go.
Well, these leaders now really getting in some traffic. Lee Watkins, Darren McDonald, and Nathan Pretty and Matty White really charging through. Terry, oh, we've got drama on the racetrack too in turn number 4. One of the cars has gone round. That's the 78. That is Trevor Nucky. And I tell you what, he'd have white knuckles. he would have white knuckles. He is facing the wrong way and not in a great position up the top of turn number 3 there, waiting for the traffic to go by. The yellow flag is at the ready. We might go under caution. No, Nucky brings the car back around. But Terry, why? Not a spot you'd be like to be sitting in.
I could certainly think of better places to be parked, Gerald. I'm sure he had his heart in his mouth there for a couple of laps, but he's got to go on again now, and he's off. But it looks like Lee certainly got his car working well here today, hasn't he? I mean, I thought Darren might have picked up the pace a little back there, but Lee's actually extending the lead.
Well, Nathan Pretty now into second spot with the DeWalt Tools Goodyear Commodore, also with help from King Chrome, and Pretty from Wodonga in Victoria, right on the border with Albury Wodonga. He's doing a terrific job and currently is leading with the leading the Commodore bunch there. Lee Watkins out in front, has completed now 14 laps and 6 laps remaining. Nucky's gone again. Oh boy. That seems to happen, Terry. When you lose it once, you lose it a couple of times, doesn't it?
Yeah, sometimes you need to slow down a little and regroup. I mean, you get a little bit hot under the collar, and the tyres are a little bit worse for wear, and I've seen it happen too many times.
Well, our leader's just stormed by Nucky, and also the Andrew Gillespie car there, the 09 Pennzoil B&A Automotive Sportsman. But out in front, what effect does the spin have on the Goodyear tyre that the AUSCARs and Sportsman are using, bearing in mind that they are a buffed-down road tyre?
Yeah, Gerald, they're left about 4 mil on these tyres. You're quite right, they're buffed down, but it depends on the actual nature of the spin. If you've locked the tyres, well, then certainly they're sometimes down to the canvas and quite dangerous to drive on. But I've actually spun an AUSCAR out here and they've kept on going, and they've been fine.
Darren McDonald's now gone under Nathan Pretty and taken over second spot. Phil Brannigan, 5 laps remaining.
Well, while there's great 3-car Commodore battles going on for second, third and fourth, it doesn't seem to be affecting Lee Watkins. He is just going around like a top, and whether it's in traffic or whether it's in clean air, the red unsponsored 47 Falcon just seems to be able to pull away from the Commodores almost at will.
Second and third place cars on screen at the moment. Nathan Pretty, that DeWalt Tools car from Albury Wodonga. There is Darren McDonald. Christian Holden, Power Mac Commodore, the reigning champion here at the Goodyear Thunderdome. And McDonald raced the first round of the series with a broken wrist and only finished in 13th position. But the first AUSCAR race at this particular event, he did exceptionally well.
There's some of our midfielders getting in the way there as Lee Watkins homes into view. It must be a terrifying sight, Terry. You've been in this position before. A car's closing on you. What do? You're trying to think, do I hold my line? Do I get out of the way?
Well, I actually haven't been out there, obviously, with AUSCAR and Sportsman, but yeah, I understand what they're going through. I mean, the main thing is to hold your line. Exactly right. I mean, if you can't do that, you're in a lot of trouble.
Watkins sweeps around the outside of some of the slower cars. He's in turn number 2 on lap 16 of 20. He's led since the lights went from yellow to green at the start of the race. Right behind him now, Nathan Pretty, and right behind him, Darren McDonald in the double 4 machine. So still these Commodores unable to solve the problem of getting on terms with the flying Falcon of Lee Watkins, who Lee Gerald just seems to be able to put that car on any part of the racetrack he chooses.
Most definitely. That 47A Ford Falcon is really running well. Yellow flag, white flag is out on the racetrack. We're actually on our last lap here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, the AUSCAR and Sportsman category. Lee Watkins looks as though he's going to take home a double header this weekend at the Goodyear Thunderdome. The 47 car comes around turns 3 and 4 onto the dogleg front straight. Nathan Pretty trying to hold on to second. A good result for the DeWalt Tools team, but it's all Lee Watkins ahead of Pretty. Darren McDonald in third spot, and Matty White comes across in position number 4. What a great race for the leading bunch of cars.
Yes, and Gillespie and Robertson took their battle in the Sportsman category all the way down to the checkered flag. Gillespie just holding on to that position in the 09 Falcon.
Now let's go down to the winner's circle where Peter Quattro has our winner, Lee Watkins.
Thanks, Gerald. Well, I do have a very happy Lee Watkins with me. Lee, it's been a great day at the office.
It has been. It's a very hard and hectic day at the moment. Crew did a fabulous job. We ended up in that last race without a clutch, a line rubbed through or something or other, and we had no clutch fluid. I had to go through the gears at the last restart without a clutch, and then they managed to fix it in the brake. we got it back out there, and even in the end I came in and the clutch had stopped again, so it was just as well we didn't have a restart, otherwise we would have been in big trouble. But you know, I could see the guys mowing down at the back, but kept trying to run a good line, and boy, that traffic was unbelievable. You know, the old Ford did a great job today. It's a first up doubleheader win for this brand new car, and credit to my team, they did a wonderful job. And Stuart, Stanco, my crew chief in particular, who put it together, and you know, it's a great result for everybody.
Well, it's been an exciting day's racing, and we look forward to bringing you our next telecast on Sunday, March 21st at 1 p.m, exclusive to Network 10. Now, for all those living in Victoria, you can experience the thrills firsthand as the Goodyear Thunderdome next revs up with all the V8 action of the NASCARs and AUSCARs on Saturday, the 13th of February. So come on and join us at Calder Park. Tickets are available at the gate.
Bumper to bumper to bumper to...
The back straight, we've got an engine. Rubble, a big one down in turn number 1. Smash.
Victory here in the Holden wise. A side, something's about to happen. Stay together. Oh,
come around, but you can see Houlihan already starting to make another one here, man.
This has been a Quattro Media production in association with Calder Park Motorsport and Network 10 Australia.